Hello. I'm pretty sure it's my sibling I'm talking to, so hi. I hope you're having a good day. There we go. Hopefully, my audio is going to sound okay. If you're able to type in the YouTube chat, if you just send any message so I can see that they're both coming through, that would be super duper. Let me see. I'm assuming you just sent me a message. Not getting audio on YouTube. Okay, let me see. Okay, are you able to hear? Are you able to hear the kick? Okay. How does that sound? I've got a lot of different knobs I can turn, so I'm sure I can get it fixed. Okay. Uh, how about now? How do I sound now? Test 1 2. Test 1 2 and test and 2 1 2 and test and yeah. How does that sound? Okay. Let me try turning up the volume a bit in OBS. Okay. How do I sound now? Okay. How about that? How does that sound? Can you hear me okay? Cool? Okay. So we might be ready to start, you think? Awesome. Okay. Cool. So I don't know. Ooh. Do I have, do I have another pair? Okay. Yeah, this is. I might need to have my quiver of sticks handy today, judging on the state of this stick right here. Cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, because I'm excited about this, I'm going to show you the progress I've been making on Stricken. Now, I still am trying to clean things up from measure 79, which is the last fill before the outro, down towards the end, particularly the transition between, or, yeah, the transition between 79 and 80. That particular transition had been giving me trouble. But I think, once I slow it down and, rep it a few dozen more times, then I'll be looking pretty good there. So expect that part not to sound quite as good, but I am going to go ahead and go through it fully at full speed, because I can actually play most of it decently at full speed. And you will hear a metronome with this version, because yeah, my practice version. But it is the actual song audio and not the MIDI. So there we go. Does it have accounting? Cool. Okay, let's hope this sounds good both in play and audio quality. Definitely still have some work to do on it, but holy crap, that has been a difficult song to learn, and I am proud of the progress I have made, even though it may still be a few more weeks before I'm ready to try to do a cover. And I was hoping that Denalo would be on here because I was going to talk to him a little bit about what my process of recording and mixing that cover will actually look like. So Let me. I'm going to go ahead and I guess pull up the lesson. We'll get started on the lesson. Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, my RimWorld colony is going great. I've got like 10 people now and a lot of rice. I'm so glad that I'm on YouTube now where you can actually send chat messages. So I don't know how much of the Drumeo Method stuff you've been around for, but today I'm continuing in part. So the pattern of the song is kind of weird because hardly any of the measures have a bass on the one. So it's all stuff like that. And that took me so much practice to be able to break away from having to do a bass hit on the one of every measure that I wasn't doing a fill through. I had to slow it down to like 40 BPM when I was practicing that at the start. Essential 16th note rock fills.
Now, before we move on to some other styles, let's tackle some 16th note rock fills. These fills are essential for any rock drummer, and they're a ton of fun to play, okay? Okay, so number one, this is going to be great because what we're doing is we're taking a very simple concept, single stroke roll with 16th notes. So if I was to just go 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and I've got sort of the mechanics of what I'm going to do for this drum fill, okay? Now this is the first fill that I teach everybody,
use this
all my
all
students
the time. It's super
come in, and
versatile.
probably the first 16th note fill that I learned. It was exciting because I kind of heard the musicality of it, and I heard the different phrasing by going to different drums. 4 times 4 drums, 4 times 4 gives you 16. Now, I wasn't very good at counting when I first started playing drums, so I just thought to myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which translates into 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and, which I would highly suggest learning that way because that's the vocabulary and the proper way to communicate with other musicians is speak the language of music, and it's just a wonderful thing down the road. So single stroke roll, 4 per drum. We're going to demonstrate this with a loop. I'm going to play one measure of a basic rock beat, a basic 8th note rock beat, and then I'm going to play the 16th note fill, just so you kind of see how you can use even these fills with some basic 8th note rock beats, okay? So here's number one.
I messed up the last time.
Fill number 2, this one is going to have some similar features to it from some 8th note fills that we did. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to play 2 per drum twice.
Around the world.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Please do not count like that, okay? Let's count 16th notes.
I don't
just to show
usually
you that totaled 16 notes around the drums.
Twice in a row
So we're
like
going to
this,
go 1
not very
E and
often.
2 E and
Unless
3
I'm doing
E
like a
and
Portnoy fill.
4 E and. So 2 per drum, twice around the kit, right? 8 times 2, it's all simple math. It's wonderful. Drumming is math, but fun math. Okay, here it is with the loop. We're going to play one measure of the 8th note rock beat into one measure of the 16th note fill. Here we go with the loop. 1, 2. fill number 3, this one is one of my favorites, especially if I'm playing on a 4-piece drum set. So anybody who doesn't have a second rack tom, this is a great fill for you. But if you have a second rack tom, still play this fill, because we don't need to utilize all the drums, as I've mentioned before, when it comes to drum fills. It's fun to sometimes orchestrate with less, okay? So I play a 4-piece set quite often, and then sometimes I play an 11-piece drum set, so it just depends on the gig. But what we're gonna do now is counts 1 and 3 are going to be on the small tom, and counts 2 and 4 are going to be on the floor tom. Now, how to do that? I'm going to go 1 E and then over to the floor tom, 2 and back to the small tom, 3 E and 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4
Okay,
E.
I got it.
So notice, no mid tom, no second floor tom, nothing else. This is a pretty cool fill. Let's try this with the loop. One measure of
this kind of thing
8th
all
note
the
beat,
time too.
one measure of the 16th note fill.
Maybe not this version exactly, but a similar thing.
Fill number 4 is great because we start getting a little bit more adventurous with the 16th note rhythm. And what I mean by that is we're actually going to eliminate one of the notes from 1 E and of course, the 4 groups. We're going to eliminate the E, meaning we're just not going to play it. It's still there, we just don't play it. So there has to be space or rest in this case. So the rhythm that we're going to see in number 4
Something like that.
is a recap from something that was taught earlier.
There's a herda,
1
I think.
and 2
Or like a
and
reverse herda?
3 and 4 and Now I'm not even saying the E because it's not being played. If I said the E, 1 E, there's the E on the rest. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So the way I look at it, and as time goes on, you're going to start to simplify your thought process and play what you see, think what you see. I don't have to count every single note that's in there.
I think
Because
that one's it.
technically, I could be counting 30-second notes in there, but there's no way I'm going to do that. That's crazy. So just what you see is what you play. In this case, I see 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now the sticking for this one, this is the one where I usually get students to try something on their own. And sometimes they get it, I don't want to say correct, but probably usable, okay? Because there's tons of different ways to play this fill, different stickings. But I find that you want to find one that's going to work for you, that's going to get happening when you play it fast, right? So one hand I can do slow, I can do left hand slow, but if I want to go fast over time, I'm going to play right, right, left on every group, 1 and Now the reason for that is it keeps my right hand consistent on the 8th note, which is what we've been doing on the hi-hat for most of these beats when we did the 8th note stuff, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ta.
Cool, that's how I was already doing it. I feel validated.
Right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. And you'll see you can get this thing flying by using that sticking. And also with this beat, I'm going to play a two-handed 16th note rock beat. I'll keep it pretty simple, snare on 2 and 4, bass drum on 1 and 3, but two-handed into number 4 with the loop. Here we go.
I'm actually going to have to think about this for just a sec. I think I'm getting the concept of it. Okay, I think that's what it is.
And you'll see you can get this thing flying by using that sticking. And also with this beat, I'm going to play a two-handed 16th note rock beat. I'll keep it pretty simple, snare on 2 and 4, bass drum on 1 and 3, but two-handed into number 4 with the loop. Here we go. Awesome. So here we are at fill number 5. This one is a ton of fun too because we get to bring in our friend, the crash cymbal. Now, I've got 3 crash cymbals in this set. Sometimes I only have 1, sometimes I have 2. Rarely I have none. So hopefully you have at least 1 crash cymbal at home, okay? So pick and choose. A crash cymbal means a crash cymbal. You can pick whichever one you want. So it doesn't mean there's no notation for the right crash or the left crash or the one behind your head or whatever. So basically, you pick whichever one you want to hit. And it just becomes more exciting when you start adding more crashes to your drum set. So what's going to happen now is we've got the crash with the bass drum on counts 1 and 3. Okay, so every time you count 1 and you count 3, you're going to have the bass drum and the crash cymbal played together. Everything else is on the snare drum. So this whole thing is a single stroke roll, and you're going to be playing 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and so if I play this, just so you can hear this, this is how this would sound. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and
See, and you know, of course, we should already know how to do this in particular, because when we were doing the 8th note fills a few lessons ago, it had the same thing. It just didn't have the extra 4 snares. It was just. So we should be able, you know, if we were a brand new student going through all this stuff and learning it for the first time, we should be able to do this just based on that previous lesson, right? Even combine them.
So that's a pretty cool sounding fill, and you get that fast, it becomes really flashy.
It does sound really cool when it's really
So let's
fast.
try that with the two-handed 16th note beat, and then I'll play the fill in the second measure of each loop. So how were these drum fills? Were they challenging?
I couldn't hear metronome very well, though.
When you're going to work with these, make sure you play with a metronome, because you might have a tendency to want to speed up throughout a drum fill.
I always play with the
This is pretty common
metronome.
among new drummers, so
Sometimes
pay close attention and listen
to other
for the
people's
metronome
annoyance.
as you practice.
But
Your
not
assignment
always,
is
but
to
most
work
of the
on
time,
these exercises
whenever I
until
can get
you
away
can
with
play
it.
them without mistakes. Now take your time. Start slow. Once you've gotten them down, I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll talk about metal music.
Oh, yeah. Metal. Ah, my favoriteest thing in music ever. Heavy metal. It has brought so much joy to my life. It's hard to describe.
The next style we're going to cover is metal. Now, I know what you're thinking. I hate metal because it's just screaming and it's not even real music. While metal might not be your absolute favorite style, there are some essential skills and different beats and fills that we need to learn from it. So metal was originally called heavy metal back in the late 1960s and early 1970s when it was developed in the UK. Some of the first bands that helped develop heavy metal were, surprisingly enough, Led Zeppelin,
British.
Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple. People question the Led Zeppelin thing because they know
The new wave of British heavy metal as well. You know, honestly, like it's kind of interesting. Like heavy metal is based on the blues, but it's also very British in origin. So it's a very interesting. I don't want to call it a dichotomy, like an interesting intersection, I guess. But of course, then musicians from L.A., Iowa, and Texas basically went and perfected it.
Zeppelin came from blues, but when you think about it, they got heavier and started playing a lot of heavier music, okay? So Black Sabbath's self-titled album is considered one of the first heavy metal albums ever recorded. These bands from the UK really set the stage for early heavy metal pioneers in the 1970s, like Thin Lizzy, Blue Oyster Cult, and Rainbow. So over the years, tons of metal subgenres emerged, including progressive metal, death metal, metalcore, thrash metal, power metal, and many more. But no matter
which metal
style you're listening to, you'll almost always hear vocals, electric guitar, electric bass, and drum.
Yeah, that's a common theme throughout. I guess most heavy metal after was it it wasn't Tony Iommi, it was Randy Rhoads, after Randy Rhoads especially, because he is the one I think that really made popular metal music. A lot of the classical modes that he was hearing his mom play, because his mom was a piano teacher. So I mean, there's a reason a lot of people think that classical and metal are some of the most compatible genres out of all the ones available out there.
And yes, oftentimes you will hear screams and growls depending on the specific style of metal.
True.
So learning how to play some
Almost
basic
annoyingly
metal
and
grooves and fills is a
overcomplicatedly
logical
so.
step in your drumming journey because the vocabulary has many similarities it does in rock. In fact, many of the patterns are the same. The only difference is how you're playing the pattern and how it's orchestrated on the drums. Metal is known as the loudest and most aggressive style of music, which means the drumming will reflect that. So we'll talk about this
It's so
in the
calm.
next few lessons. Some of you may also be wondering about double bass pedals, and if you need them for playing metal. While they are used often in metal, we won't be getting into that today, but we will be later in the Drumeo Method. So don't worry about that for now. So just like you did in the rock introduction lesson,
Playing
your
metal
assignment
bands that
is to
use
now
only one
go and
pedal.
listen to a few songs by 5 different metal bands. You can check out some
They tend to be
classic metal
slower
bands like
genres.
Black Sabbath, Motorhead, Judas Priest, Metallica, and Slayer. Or some more modern bands like Meshuggah, Architects, Tesseract, Animals as Leaders, and Dream Theater. Again, there's so many great bands out there, and I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find something that piques your interest. Once you've completed your assignment, leave a comment below in the video with your metal listening suggestions for other drummers to check out as well. Then I'll see you in the next lesson where you can learn some essential metal beats.
He mentioned Dream Theater there, and I'm glad it could. In my opinion, Dance of Eternity is a masterpiece of musicianship. I love listening to the Dance of Eternity.
To start off, we're going to look at some essential metal grooves, and like I mentioned in the last video, you're going to notice that there's some beats that look very familiar.
I wonder
That's
what he can
because
do
you
with one
played
pedal.
some of these with different orchestrations. So let's look at the first one, and I'll show you how and why these grooves are considered metal grooves. Now, if you look at beat number 1, you're going to notice that it looks very, very similar to something we've done with the basic rock stuff. Okay?
Open hi-hat.
So your typical money beat, as we can call it, this is like the metal money beat, all right? Now you're going to notice these little X's with circles around them, and that's simply
Have I ever? Did I ever get a chance to show you the hi-hat clutch that I got? I don't remember if I did. It's super cool. It got a lever. So when I press down on it with my foot and release it, we have open, right? But then I hit the lever, and now it's closed and a little bit sloshy. And then now we're completely closed, and now we're open again. Oh, it's so cool. I love this thing. I use it all the time now.
It means that you're going to be playing a sloshier hi-hat, or a hi-hat that's heavier sounding. Like, I don't want to keep it really tight and crispy. I want this thing to growl and get angry. So, as an example, here's how I would play my hi-hat for a pop tune.
Pop, 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 happy, happy, happy.
Now, if I was to play something a little bit harder, maybe sort of kind of like a grunge rock type of thing, I might go.
Da, 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 da.
Okay. When it boils down to metal, and very specific styles sometimes, this thing, and a good example that I like to use
I wonder
is
if you
Lars
can
Ulrich from
move over to
Metallica.
the
I
right
was
at
a
some
huge
point as
Metallica
well.
fan back in the 80s, and I always loved how heavy his hi-hats were. I also realized that he had very thick cymbals, and I believe he was playing Zildjian, and they were big and thick and heavy. And I personally never liked those cymbals, but the way he played them with that style was beautiful. It was absolutely perfect for the style.
This
So
one's a
if you're going
Zildjian.
to get into the style, maybe find some cymbals that are going to work best for you to play this and create that sound. But if I was to play metal, I might do something like this now. And I'm not necessarily hitting much harder. I'm actually using the shoulder area of my sticks. So my sticks are quite brand new right now. I'm pretty sure by the end of this lesson, they're all going to be chewed up. So also make sure you got sticks that are going to last you when you play this, because it's a little bit aggressive on your drumstick. So 8th notes, sloshy, heavy, angry on the hi-hat, bass drum on 1 and 3,
Make sure you hit the bass
on 2
hard.
and 4. Now,
No.
I am going to play these a little
No.
bit louder. I did
Yeah.
have my metal phase throughout the
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s. I do get a chance to come back and play some pretty hard hitting stuff. Did an album 2 years ago that was quite heavy, and it was fun. I mean, I was physically exhausted by the end of it, but I can play this stuff. I just got to play it more aggressively. So it's the attitude you put into it as well. So I'll put a
I'm planning on trying out at some point, linking up my Apple Watch with an app I found so that I can display my heart rate on the stream. I think that would be cool.
little bit of that attitude into this for these exercises. Okay, so here's number 1, and we're going to play this with the loop. So number 2 is basically another very straight ahead, simple 8th note metal style of beat. Bass drum's going to be on the 1 and on the 3 and, okay? And the sloshy hi-hat is going to be on all the 8th notes.
Nice and heavy when
try
you
to
go
hit that
slow.
snare harder than you normally would for this guy. Here it is with the loop. So number 3, you're going to notice slight different notation. You're going to notice these little X's that are above the staff. And this is another very, very common type of way of playing metal beats, is find your biggest crash cymbal, okay, and smack the heck out of it. Play 8 notes. Open this thing right up. So now we get a chance to really chew up our sticks.
I think this
and
one is
play on the crash cymbal. I'm going to pick my biggest one. I got 17,
20-inch.
18, and 16. Let's go to the 18. I'm going to play on this guy. Straight ahead 8 notes. And we've got the bass drum on the 1 and on the end of 3. So this is kind of like the Shook Me All Night Long beat by AC/DC, but in heavy metal form. Snares on 2 and 4, nice and heavy. Here we go with the loop.
I didn't know that was the group for that. Never paid attention.
All right, so number 4, these are great because this is where, in my opinion, it gets very heavy in the sense of playing quarter notes on the cymbal. And I say pick your biggest crash cymbal. If you have a China cymbal, you know, make sure it's a big China cymbal, like 18 or bigger. Okay. Sometimes you can get away with the smaller ones depending how heavy it is. But keep in mind, in this music, the drums really need to be heard. They can't be buried by the guitars and the vocals and the bass. Very rarely do you see keyboards in this music, but on occasion you do. Some progressive metal, you'll definitely see keyboards. But in the real hard-hitting thrash stuff, deathcore, all that, you generally don't see a lot of keyboards, so you don't have to worry about drowning out the keyboard player. But just make sure that when you're hitting a cymbal...
You know, speaking of deathcore, like, I was asking my friend for music suggestions a few weeks ago, like, yeah, just give me some suggestions of some rock and metal song that I could, put my own drums on. And she gave me Oblivion by Lorna Shore. I don't know how our friendship survived.
It's opening up as big as you can. So at some point, if you take this style seriously, maybe invest in a really good crash cymbal or china cymbal that's going to cut through everything.
I was so tired.
So all we're doing for number 4 is we're playing quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the cymbal.
There's a breakdown beat right here.
The snare drum is going to go to count 3. Okay.
I'm going to do it on my china.
I'm going to play this on 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Putting the bass drum on the one and, so a little bit of independence because the bass drum has to fit between those first 2 crash cymbals. Okay, so let me just play this beat for you slow, and then we'll try it with the loop, just so you kind of get an idea for it. And I'm going to play it kind of gentle, and then I'll bring it to the metal
I do that sometimes
concept.
too. It's like,
okay. 1, 2.
And then I'll bring it up once I am better about the movement.
So you'll notice that snare drum is on count 3. This is something they actually call a halftime feel, which we'll get into later on in the Drumeo method. But it sort of chills the feel, but it can also make it more aggressive at the same time. It's pretty crazy when it comes to the metal stuff.
The main purpose, of course, of the halftime break in a metal song is so that when the crowd knows when to split up for the wall of death. And then at the end of the breakdown, or at the end of the halftime, they, of course, know that that's the moment to go and slam into each other face first like a bunch of unarmed Spartans. Red Rover, heavy metal style.
Let's try this beat with the loop.
I've done it before. It's a lot of fun, actually.
Okay, so here at number 5, we've got the same concept with the crash cymbal or the china cymbal, whatever you have, some big aggressive sounding cymbal.
Oh, this one is huge. I had to practice this a ton when I was learning how to play Monster by Skillet. That was one of the first songs that I ever learned from when I was playing Paradiddle. And that pattern that it has during part of it, which I think I need to tighten up the spring on my pedal. I recently moved my throne forward, and it changed the balance of everything because I'm feeling like, I'm a little too far back because I'm using my shins a little bit too much and my calves not enough. So I may need to do a little bit of rebalancing with the spring tension. Because my doubles have been a little bit more difficult since I moved forward as well. Feels like the pedal's not catching up with my foot.
Just smashing out quarter notes, okay? And we're going to put the snare drum back on 2 and 4. So snare drum's on 2 and 4. And the bass drum is going to fill up all the 8th notes except when you hit the snare drum on 2 and 4. So the bass drum's on the 1 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and. So bass drum's pretty busy. We got 6 bass drums in this beat. Wonderful driving groove at any tempo. Here it is with the loop. Nice work. Did you enjoy these?
Thank you.
Did you notice any difference between these beats and the way rock beats sound? I hope you notice a few differences in the overall sound and feel of these ones, and I know I sure did, just the way I played them. Okay. So your assignment for this lesson is to go work on these 5 grooves until you've got them under your belt. Pay attention to how these grooves sound when played on the crash cymbal or with the open hi-hats, or you can even try orchestrating these grooves in other ways to make them sound more like rock grooves as an added challenge. I'll leave you with that for now, and once you've got these grooves down, I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll look at some essential metal fills.
Yeah. All right, let's see. How much do we have left in this section? About 10 more minutes worth. We've got about 20 minutes left, so we'll save the metal fills for Monday, because I want to just play some songs before I have to end the stream in a little while, because I have to go to my friend's house and feed the stray cats behind their house while they're gone, because I'm a good friend. All right, let me turn off the iPad view. Actually, no, I never had the iPad view on. So you were... I totally forgot to turn the iPad view back on. Oh, I'm such an unprofessional. I was distracted by the multi-streaming aspect. I'll get it right next time. By the way, if you happen to spot a song on this list that you want me to give a go at, because you suggested some of them, just point them out, feel free. I recently had to reinstall the app because it kept freezing, so most of the songs need to be re-downloaded, but that only takes like half a second. Got some of the new Deftones songs. I have a friend that's a huge fan, and she gave me some suggestions, and these three are actually pretty good. My Mind Is a Mountain has been my favorite one to play, but Metal Dream's really good too. Yeah, we'll do Pink Pony Club. That's one that you suggested to me. I don't remember how it goes, so I'll have to figure out the groove in the start here, but should be fine. I'll try to make the metronome non-intrusive. We'll see how that goes. Also, I'm finding that, and this may actually end up being a good thing for me, guys. I wonder if I'm relying too much on my visual cues on my iPad when I'm playing stuff. So I don't know why, but there is a slight audio lag coming from the iPad, which from an audio perspective, not a big deal at all, because it all goes into the mixer and is synced up there, right? But it means that the that bit at the top where it shows the measures is slightly off. So I can't rely on that to help me keep a visual metronome anymore. I have to now rely on the audio metronome and just listening to the song. So maybe we're going to be trying to break a handicap, possibly. Pretty piano, forgot. Oh, we got some feedback.
I know you wanted me to stay, but I can't ignore the crazy visions of me in LA. I heard that there's a special place where boys and girls can all be queens every single day. I'm having wicked dreams of leaving Tennessee. You Santa Monica, I swear it's calling me. We'll make my mama proud. It's gonna cause a scene. She sees her baby girl. I know she's gonna scream.
Welcome.
It's where I belong, down at the Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pony Club, Pink Pony Club. And dolls are on the floor. Lovers in the bathroom and the line outside the door. Black lights and a mirror disco ball. Every night's another reason why I left it all. I think my wicked dreams are you from Tennessee or Santa Monica. You've been too good to me. Won't make my mama proud. It's gonna cause a scene. She sees her baby girl. I know she's gonna scream. You're a pink pony girl, and you dance at the club. Oh mama, just having fun on the stage in my heels. It's where I belong, down at the Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pony Club, Pink I've left you all behind. Still love you in Tennessee. You're always on my mind. And mama, every Saturday I can hear your southern draw 1,000 miles away. Saying, God, what a time. You're a pink pony girl, and you dance at the club. Oh mama, I'm just having fun on the stage in my heels. It's where I belong, down at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club, Pink Pony Club.
I hate fade outs. I hate fade outs. They get me every time. Yeah, welcome to Knowledge. Yeah, you missed part of 2.5 today, but that's okay. We just talked about some rock grooves, rock fills, and basic metal fills, metal grooves, or not? Yeah, we didn't do fills yet. We did grooves, and basically, like it was basically kind of like this. This is the rock groove. This is the metal groove. And sometimes it really is just that simple, isn't it? You know, we'll try to play along to Going Under. So, earlier, Alpha, I told you I was going to be showing my progress on Stricken. I did. So there's a lot of similarity between the drumming styles in Disturbed and in Evanescence. I'm noticing, especially when it comes to double, they both love doing like that kind of stuff. The painful part about Evanescence, though, is they like to use electronic snares in parts of their stuff, and I don't have one of those here, so I can't make all the noises that they do.
Now I will tell you what I've done for you. 50,000 tears I've cried, screaming, deceiving, and bleeding for you, and you still won't hear me. Don't lose your hand this time, I'll save myself. Maybe I'll wake up for not falling, defeated by you. Just one night, thought I'd reach the
I was doing okay through most of it, but then I started to drift a little bit. I should have turned the metronome up a little bit louder. That's the thing, right? Like 2 years, 3 years. It sounds like a long time to be doing a hobby, right? Like especially like with the hours that I do put in, right? I put in, a couple thousand hours, at least, probably more than that. But I still feel very much like a beginner in this because I see the vast possibilities of other drummers, and I see that I'm still constantly having to refine, my not just the cool stuff that I do of fills every now and then, but my basics and my fundamentals, like following the metronome, which can be, can be difficult to focus on that when you're doing some, more complex rhythm. All right, I want to do something heavy now. I haven't got to use my double pedal this whole time. No, we'll go feel good. We'll go feel good and big energy. Baby Metal and Electric Callboy, they are a couple of my favoriteest modern bands right now. And I haven't gotten a chance to see Electric Callboy live, but I've seen Baby Metal twice now, and actually, I've seen them once. I saw them with Deathclock, who I've seen twice. But they put on an amazing show. Very engaged with the crowd, very high energy. Hopefully, I don't have to rely on the metronome as much with this one. But oh yeah, Denal, you weren't here when we were talking about this, so I may have handicapped myself a little bit with this app because I may be relying too much on the visual metronome that you see going across the top, but for some reason there is now a bit of visual lag, or not visual lag, audio lag going on between the iPad and the mixer, which doesn't really affect what I hear and what you hear, but it does mean that the iPad's visual is out of sync with the actual song. So that means that I'm going to have to train myself to stop relying on that visual metronome, because now that's going to throw me off instead of helping me, and rely more on the audio metronome and the other instruments in the song, which is probably something that I should be. I've been thinking about this for a while anyway, even before this started happening. It's like, maybe I should stop looking at that so much, and now I kind of have to.
Every night when the sky turns red up above, I feel the beat in my veins and I'm searching for love.
I think I was messing with my audio, and I think I came in off tempo.
Every night when the sky turns red up above, I feel the beat in my veins and I'm searching for love. You know that hips don't lie if you hypnotize. Just give me one more try to make you feel that vibe.
I have trouble hearing the song over the drums. we're going to get better at not looking at that. Because if we look at it, it's going to throw us off. We're going to get better at it. I promise. Did I pass the one I was looking for? I guess I did. Okay, where is it? I don't know where it is. I might just have to pick a different song because I can't find it. Hmm. This is what happens when you end up with too many songs that you can't find, or you're not quite sure. You know what you're looking for, but it's one of those you will find it when you see it type things. All right, have fun. I'll catch you on Discord. Well, you know, since you're here, Denali, and he's leaving, I can show you my progress that I've been making on the song that I've been practicing, and then I'll end on that. But yeah, check this out. All right, so this is a difficult song. I'm not done practicing it. There are going to be some mistakes, particularly towards the end in the outro section. But over the next few weeks, I'm going to continue smoothing it out. And then we're going to, we'll do, or try to get a good take of it, which I'll talk briefly about how I'm going to do that process after I do a playthrough, and then I'll sign off after that. Is he going to play? This is fun. Why is it doing this? I was not actually ready. I was spending so much time trying to get to actually play. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to play this at full speed, even though I'm not entirely ready to yet. But we're going to try it anyway. I know all the parts. I just got to work on being able to play them well. But I feel like I have made massive progress on where I was with this song. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slow it down real quick to where I started and just let you listen to it very briefly. All right. This is how slow I was playing this when I was first learning it. Oh, listen to that gap. That is less than half of the actual speed of the song. It has been such a challenge, but like I said, I feel like I've made huge progress. So to briefly talk about how I'm going to record it when the time comes. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up playing along to what you just listened to, the synth MIDI track. I'm not going to be playing along to the song, to the full song, because I need to be able to hear my drums and the metronome clearly. What I will end up doing is on my laptop, I'm not going to record from my mixer. I'm going to record directly from the drum module, which is going to be connected through USB. So Audacity will be running. OBS will be listening to the mixer like normal, but Audacity will be listening to the USB connection of the drum mic module. And then after we get a good take, I'll take the audio of that and I will overlay it on top of, or underneath, I guess, the original drumless version of the song. And then that is how we will end up with a cover eventually. Someday, once I get this song down. It's a really hard song. All right. So, I know my life. I like falling over. Yeah, I know that you dropped in late, but that's okay. I appreciate you stopping and hanging by. Between you and Alpha, I was able to make sure that both of my streams are working. And I will chat with you on Discord. For everyone else, remember, drums are hard. Music is hard. Go easy on yourself, but go practice and get better. Have a good weekend. See you tomorrow at